And we are going to record or go to our live streaming service. And it looks like we are live. We have a lot of people in the chat, and that is so cool. So let's go ahead and say hello to the people in the chat. I see Gary, is it Simons or Simmons? Which is pretty cool. We also got John Wayne. Good to see you. Care PPG Jim is in the house. Jim, Tommy Sutherland. Lots of chatting in the super chat, and it's going to be a great night tonight. If you have any questions for our guests, make sure you say hello to Jim, and he will let us know your questions from the super chat. Good to see everybody here, and thank you so much for joining us. I know you guys could be doing so many other things like flying, but you're joining us here for tonight's PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast at clearproptv.com. And if you want to just listen to us, you can go to paratalk.org. Welcome, everybody. Let's go ahead and say hello to the people on the panel. As always, we have our very own Linda Anderson from Paramom USA. She has little pom-poms. Do you have your pom-poms tonight?
Oh, I do.
I hope so, because you didn't have them last time.
No, I know. No, I got him today. I finally remembered. Hi, everybody. Hello, my chatters. Welcome, Aaron. Welcome to our show tonight. Appreciate having you here.
Thanks, Linda.
Wonderful Monday night. I appreciate all my chatters and viewers being here with us tonight. I much appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much for helping us out. If you want to be on the show, make sure you get up with Linda Anderson. She's our PR girl. Go to paramomusa.com. It forwards over to her Facebook page. You just PM her and say, hey, I want to be on the show, and she'll hook you up. She'll hook you up. Thank you so much, Linda, for being on the show. We also got Jim from Canada, the only guy I know that has maple syrup smelling money. What's up, buddy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Well, it's always good to see you, bud. And the question that I always ask you is, what flight are you on this week?
118.
118. That's awesome. That is so awesome. And you also print out decals, which you guys call decals. You have stickers and all sorts of stuff. The paramotorcalendar.com you do, and you helped us out a lot. And how do we get up with you if we want to make stickers or calendars or stuff on our own? We ask you, and how do we get up with you?
You can reach me through carepp.com, and I'd be happy to help you out.
Awesome. And he also flies too. So if you want to watch his crazy shenanigans, go to careppg.com. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jim, for being here. We also have a guest, Jim. There's the guest here is someone you know by heart, right? Who is our guest tonight?
This is my instructor, Aaron Hackel from Explore Sports, ppgschool.ca.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Aaron, to our show. You are the instructor that helped Jim get up in the air. That's awesome. We definitely appreciate you. And thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us, Sean. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, we talked a lot over the pre-show. You're going to be giving away some stuff. So you guys in the chat, if you're listening, make sure you say hello so we can see that you're here, because we're going to be giving away some cool stuff in 1 hour. So make sure you stay here for the entire hour. At 8 o'clock, we're going to be giving away some cool stuff. So don't go nowhere. Aaron, you've been flying paramotors for a while. You're an instructor. You have schools everywhere. It sounds absolutely amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into paramotors and starting up the school?
Yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity again, Sean. I guess it goes back about nearly a decade now. And like everybody, I think when we start as a paramotor instructor, everybody has family life and full-time jobs and all that type of jazz. And I always had a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. So while I was working my corporate job for about 18 years, working as an advertising consultant at the daily paper, I had started a company nearly 2 decades ago called Explore Kiteboarding, and we really concentrated on just teaching people how to kiteboard. And then in 2008, we decided to change the name from Explore Kiteboarding to Explore Sports to encompass all of the other activities that we started getting into, stand-up paddle boards, one-wheeling when they came in, and a bunch of other alternative activities like one wheels, or sorry, not one wheels, but unicycles and all that kind of jazz. Then in, I was going to say about 2015, and I need to back up here. So when I started Paramotor, I wasn't planning to teach at all. Paramotor was going to be just my pastime, and I was just going to have fun with it, and I didn't need any other main source of income. Then in 2015, as the industry changed in corporate, working in newspapers, I ended up getting my package like so many people else did in North America, and I needed something to do with my life. So I took my package and I worked in Canada. It's run a little bit different being a flight instructor than it is in the US. So it took about 3 years to achieve all of the designations underneath Transport Canada, upgrading our medicals and having our in-flight instruction and actually having to travel for in-flight instruction, as well as the multiple exams that we needed to achieve with a 90% pass mark in order to achieve our flight instructor status. So it took about 3 years to achieve all of those designations, and knowing all of the kiteboarding relationships that have built across Canada over the last 2 decades, after running a couple cool kiteboarding events, even one sponsored by Red Bull. I met a lot of different instructors from across Canada. So I used those kiteboarding instructors and those relationships to cross-train them into paramotor. And it's a perfect alternative for us kiteboarders, because on windy days, we go kite and we teach kiteboarding. And then on those calm days, we're always sitting there, what do you want to do? And we always have a love for living life. And paramotor just brought that right into fulfilling that need of living in Zen. So after 3 years of running or traveling right across Canada, and teaming up with a bunch of kiteboarding instructors and cross-training them, we decided to open up ground handling facilities in a bunch of different provinces. And Transport Canada requires a minimum of 20 hours of classroom training, learning about air law and meteorology and airways. And we've teamed up with another third-party company to source all of those studies online, so people can actually learn about everything that they need to legally fly in Canada in the comfort of their home in their province, with hopefully a ground handling facility near them. So while they're going through all the online course, we team them up with one of our ground handling instructors, getting into a free flight harness and laying out the wing and going through our comprehensive syllabus. So right now, on the PPG school side, we have 14 instructors that are going through a 2-year mentorship. A lot of them are over a year right now. They'll achieve their flight instructor status this year. We're opening up our Atlantic region school in the upcoming weeks. Our flight instructor, Jimmy Farrar out there, will receive his actual flight instructor certification. And so, yeah, using those kiteboarding connections, we opened up all these phase 1 ground handling clinics, so that when people have to visit either Regina, Saskatchewan for in-flight training or our PEI school, they only have to visit for 2 or 3 days to achieve over 30 flights, because they're very well prepared prior to actually visiting our phase 2 facilities right now.
So that's pretty interesting. So you have different phases. You have your PPG school, and that's where they get all the knowledge, like 20 hours worth of schooling. Is that correct? Or you have to be like where you guys are and go over 12 or 20 hours of schooling at your school? How does that work?
Yeah, so a lot of the schools in Canada, you would actually have to visit them for 20 hours and be in a classroom listening to me talk. And no one, I don't even like talking during this podcast, let alone having to listen to me talk for 20 hours about meteorology and a bunch of dry stuff. How the course is designed is when people sign up for phase one of our school, they get a link within 24 hours that they can complete their 20 hours of classroom training online in the comfort of their own home whenever it makes sense for them to complete those hours. They receive a certificate of completion once they're done, as well as we've been toying with anybody that's been in the paragliding and paramotor industry have heard of the name Andre Bandera. He's a paramotor paragliding pilot in Australia. And if anybody has looked at the comprehensive online syllabus of videos of just learning how a wing works, we're actually looking at including that as part of our package or into our overall 20-hour package. So when people sign up for our course, they would have to view all of those videos before even having a wing in their hands. Then as they have a wing in their hands and they're working through their 20-hour course, they work through their 20-hour course and as well as have a wing in their hands, going through the complete phase 1A, B, and C of our syllabus, which is all of the ground handling. This is everything with the exception of actually leaving your feet from the ground. So that's everything in a free flight harness, as well as everything with the cage and the motor on your back, even starting up the motor and running with it, but not having a wing attached at this point. So everything that you can do, with the exception of your feet leaving from the ground, because that requires a different license underneath Transport Canada. But those phase one facilities at all those locations that we've have facilities at teach that at home or hopefully close to home, so that when people are ready to fly, they just come back and they're ready to fly. They demonstrate all of the knowledge that they've gained at our phase one facilities. And a lot of the time, people only have to visit for 2 or 3 days to bang off over 30 flights. And I should mention, in Canada, it's required in order to move off of a student pilot permit and actually achieve a ultralight. It's called an aviation document booklet in Canada. You have to achieve a minimum of 30 flights underneath the flight instructor like myself.
Okay, so you go to school.
Yep.
And you have to have 30 flights before you can get your license to fly ultralights in Canada.
Correct.
Okay.
To get off of your student pilot permit. There's a couple of things, and sorry, I should have mentioned this at the beginning, Sean. So in Canada, there's some things that we always have to fly with. Number one is we have to fly with a helmet all the time, or you can be shut down and Transport Canada can take your actual paramotor away. The second thing that we need to fly with is a valid medical license, which is a class 4 medical. And as ultralight or paramotor pilots, we're able to self-declare. So it's just a matter of filling out a form. It doesn't cost anything. We self-declare the medical. It takes anywhere from a month to 8 weeks in order to get back from Transport Canada, as long as our students or the pilots getting into the sport don't have any pre-existing conditions, like kidney stones to diabetes to there's a list of them. So as long as there aren't any pre-existing conditions, usually we're getting those class 4 medicals back within about a month time period. Once we have the medicals back, and as a flight instructor, we can show Transport Canada that our students have the knowledge, i.e. the 20 hours of classroom training. As a flight instructor, we are acting as an authorized persons for the ministry of writing a student pilot permit, which is valid for 60 months, so 5 years. So a lot of the pilots in Canada will just operate on a student pilot permit for 60 months. The advantage to getting off of the student pilot permit and achieving those 30 flights is when you move into an aviation document booklet, it's valid for 10 years in Canada. And it really looks like a passport. It's just a baby blue color, but it's got your photo in there. And they are valid for 10 years versus the 5-year student pilot permit, as long as you keep your medical up to date. The last thing that we need in order to fly legally in Canada is a proof of third-party liability insurance, which a company called Marsh Insurance in Canada, it roughly costs about $159 Canadian annually to fly. So we have to have the proof of insurance on us, along with our certificate of registration of our aircraft, i.e. our paramotor, as well as our student pilot permit, and our medical is tied to that student pilot permit. I know it sounds like a lot, and we've really tried to break it out into a dummy proof system on our website. So if anybody goes to ppgschool.com, that's Papa Golf School.com, and goes to the download section, we've done a step-by-step of what you need to actually legally fly in Canada.
Okay, so this is really interesting. Never really got in such depth with the difference between what we do over here in the States and what Canada does. So you're saying that you have to wear a helmet all the time. Does that mean flying a paramotor or also ground handling?
We teach it right from ground handling because we want our students to get into the mindset that stuff can happen at any time. And you guys know from even living in Michigan or down in Florida, dust levels come down, thermals can come up, and a helmet is never a bad thing to wear. So right from day one, as soon as we have our students, even in a Roadrunner or a SEED ground handling wing, we put them in a helmet just so that they know that when they're on a paramotor or whenever they're flying a wing, they should be in a helmet and just get used to it, because they're going to be in it when they're flying it anyways in Canada.
Okay, so having to wear a helmet is when you have a paramotor on your back started? Is that when it's legal that you, that's when you have to wear a helmet, is when you have a paramotor on your back and it started, right?
No, I should clarify. So legally, as soon as your feet take off from the ground, legally, you should have a helmet on. But I'm going to tell you a quick story. So when I did my training 10 years ago, and one of the reasons why I started my school was some of the gear that I was introduced to. Let's just say we use all of the safest top of the line equipment. All of my students are now on my 22 motors or Pellinis. We're using 2021, 2022 Mojo PWRs, and even we're a dealer and the Canadian distributor for Icaro helmets, which are 966 certified, and they're beautiful helmets. Do you need that for paramotoring in Canada? No. My instructor had me in a hard helmet. I'm talking a green hard hat with plastic around the top, no chin strap at all. So even a helmet like this, which would be like the old, would suffice in Transport Canada's rules and regulations. They don't stipulate what type of helmet that you have to wear, other than you need to wear a helmet when you're flying ultralight. And you have to appreciate, when I say ultralight, that is what paramotor is classified as under Transport Canada. So when we talk about ultralight, fixed wing ultralight, that's all of our students actually have to learn about closed marking runways at an aerodrome, which you'll never use, or very rarely, when you're flying paramotor, but all of our students know that in order to legally fly in Canada.
That is so interesting. Looks like Will Fly has joined us from Bad Apples, it looks like. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. All right, so you can have a student permit for 5 years, but as soon as you hit that 30 flight, then you can get your pilot's license for ultralights. Or you can stay with that permit for 5 years and get hundreds of flights, or how does that work exactly?
Yeah, no, you could have hundreds, thousands of
Okay.
flights within those 5 years. Your student pilot permit is literally just a piece of paper that you have to have on you, and your medical is tied to that. Your class 4 medical is only valid for 2 years, so 24 months. So we recommend when you get to about a year and a half, go see your aviation examiner again. Make sure that you have your valid medical, because your student pilot permit is not valid without that actual medical and keeping that annual insurance up to date. I'm going to say probably, I'm not going to say 90, but a good 80% of pilots in Canada will never achieve, 80% of paramotor pilots in Canada will never achieve the ultralight aviation document booklet or the full license, because what happens after those 30 flights is they just need to go back to a school and demonstrate competency, and that school can reissue another student pilot permit for another 5 years. We're trying to do things a little bit different at PPG school. We want people to get their full ultralight pilot's license. So how we've designed our course, or our online course, is we take our students to 97%, going through the comprehensive online syllabus, which Jim can contest to because he had to take it. And once they get to 97%, they stop the course. We can issue the student pilot permit because those students have the required knowledge for us as flight instructors to issue that student pilot permit and be legally fly. Now, after Jim receives 30 flights, he can request, it's called a letter of recommend, so that he can write an ultralight test, which is 80 multiple choice questions that he needs to pass with a 60% to pass. And then once passing at 60%, he can apply for an aviation document booklet. And I think Jim actually in the last quarter anyways, I believe Jim took his test.
I sure did.
And how did you do, Jim?
86.
86%. So it was a pass.
Sure
Good.
was.
Good job. And in order to be a flight instructor, if you don't already have a PPL, a private pilot's license, or a commercial pilot's license, us as flight instructors, we need to achieve a minimum of 90% on that ultralight test in order to move to the next stage, which is called a Phi 10 exam.
Interesting. Very interesting. And you have to go through a 2-year class to become an instructor. Is that correct? In
I
Canada?
wouldn't say it's 2 years. We need a minimum of 50 hours, logging 50 hours of flying. And for you US states, I mean, you guys can get that in a couple weeks, but for us Canadians, that, it's blowing 20 knots here, and our seasons, we can only, I shouldn't say, we get to fly all year round because we do a lot of ski launches and out in the winter time. And anybody that's flown in the winter, they appreciate how dense the air is and how solid the wings are. And if you've never had the opportunity to experience that, wintertime flying is superior to any other condition anywhere. Well, I guess if you're at sea level, but that's still not the same. Wintertime, the motors are snappy, and yeah, the wings are just so solid. It takes, if you're just getting into it, because of all of the changing the medicals from a class 4 to a class 3, and having to pay and see an aviation examiner and wait for Transport Canada to sign off on you for a class 3 medical, before writing some of the exams, and then achieving 90% on the ultralight exam, as well as it's called a Phi-10 exam, and it has nothing to do with aviation. It's all about the methodologies of teaching and how people retain the information. So you need to achieve 80% of that exam, as well as do an in-flight test underneath an aviation examiner, which is not even myself. This is from an ultralight aviation examiner, which might not be near you. So you need to book in time to go visit somebody to do it's only a 20-minute in-flight test, but you need to demonstrate your competency. And there's an oral and a written that goes with that as well. So it takes about 2 years to get through the whole process if anybody's looking at becoming a flight instructor.
That is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, was there any questions in the chat that I missed?
Not at the moment.
Okay. We are rolling on a half an hour of this podcast. We're only going to be doing an hour tonight, and Aaron is going to be giving away some really cool merch. So make sure you say hello. Make sure you say hello to Jim in the chat so we know that you're in here. You must be present to win. And we're going to be giving away some stuff in about a half an hour from now. So Aaron is a instructor in Canada, and we're going over all the different things that are different from learning how to fly in Canada and learning how to fly over here in the States. A little bit different. Seems like there's a little bit more cost involved too, like not really a lot, but $159 a year for a third-party insurance. And other than that, what else does the student have to pay out of pocket, not to the school, but to be able to fly? I mean, obviously you got to get your motor and wing, but what else do you need to do?
No, other than the 159 of your annual third-party liability insurance, the medical is free. The class 4 medical, again, need to stipulate, as long as you don't have any pre-existing conditions, it is free to submit. It just takes time. So any U.S. student or pilot that's interested in flying in Canada, you need to get onto Transport Canada site and just Google Transport Canada Class 4 Aviation Medical, and there'll be a form that comes up. You need to fill out that form and submit it, and you won't be legal to fly in Canada without that form regardless. You also will need a student pilot permit, which you need to visit one of our schools or another flight instructor to issue an authorized person as an authorized person to issue that student pilot permit, and then just prove that you have that third-party liability insurance. So it's not too much more. And I always look at it like we have a bunch of US clients that visit our schools annually. A lot of them just they weren't satisfied after researching some of the schools in the US with the capabilities of teaching, whether some of them were only teaching foot launch and they wanted to do trike training, for an example. And for US students, when they come up to Canada, it's beautiful to fly here. There's outs everywhere. It's so safe out of all the places I've flown. And B, when you're on the US dollar, it's actually pretty cheap.
Okay. So I'm glad that you were mentioning that as far as US, students coming to Canada. So if I wanted to go up to Canada and fly with Jim,
Yep.
I'd have to get up with you, and I'd have to get the Class 4 medical, which
Yep.
you said I can do that. Is that something you can do online?
You can.
Okay, so get the Class 4 medical online, pay for my third-party insurance, which is $159 a year, and that's through, what is it called again?
It's through Marsh Insurance, and it's their Silver Wings package. So marsh.ca.
MARSH?
Yep.
.ca, you said?
I'm just gonna double check.
marsh.ca.
It's actually .com.
.com?
MAR and it's SH.
Okay. So marsh.com to get the insurance. And that insurance is good for Canada only, or Canada and the States?
I would have to dig a little
Okay.
deeper, but I believe it's only within Canada for the third
Okay.
party, but don't quote me on that.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense. I kind of I kind of figured that's probably what it was. We can go up there with the class 4 medical, the insurance, and then I'd have to fly your motor because it has to be certified, correct?
Correct. Yeah, you can apply to fly your aircraft, and there is a cost. I believe it's $65 or $85 to register your paramotor in Canada for about 30 days if you're coming to visit. And I apologize, I don't have that information, but we very rarely do we actually have students that actually bring their own equipment. When they're here, they're flying our school equipment. So, because it is registered with Transport Canada.
Okay. So if we already fly over here, do we need to be a certain PPG 1, 2, or 3 to go to your school? And if we do, what do we need, and how much would it cost to go through just to be able to fly in Canada?
So I guess the big thing is having to do that minimum of the 20 hours of the classroom training, the online training, which you can do at home in the US. So, but you need to be able to prove that you understand all of the rules and regulations and the guidelines set forth by Transport Canada to legally fly here, so that I, as a flight instructor, can issue that student pilot permit. So we would definitely have to sign you up for phase 1 at least, so that we know that we can write that student pilot permit, you have that medical, and you have your insurance. And then once you came and you demonstrated your competency, I wouldn't be charging the US clients the phase 2 fee of actually putting everybody up in the air. It's just a matter of making sure that you are competent of flying. And then we could actually do some tours down the valley, some foot drags in some low level waters, or climb over the mountains.
Awesome. Would we bring our own wing, or do the wings have to be certified too there?
The wings don't have to be certified whatsoever. It just has to do with, and it's not even the motor, Sean. It's just the actual cage and chassis. Like if we're the Canadian distributor for Scout. So Scout, before they imported into Canada, they didn't even include any ID tags on their actual chassis themselves. Where now anything that they import from Slovakia, they know that we need the manufacturer's name, the model number, the serial number of that frame, and then the year of the manufacturer. So those are the 4 things that we need in order to register those paramotors with Transport Canada.
Okay, that is really interesting. I'm really glad that we're able to go through all this stuff, because I know that I was wanting to go up to Canada, but it seemed like it was impossible to go up there because of all the different rules and regulations that you guys have. So if I wanted to go up there and do this, how would I get up with you? What's your website and email, and how would I get up with you to be able to do something like this?
So the umbrella company is exploresports.ca, EXPLORESPORTS.ca. That would get you, if you went to the kiteboarding, it would give you all the kiteboarding stuff. And there's going to be one that says paramotor. If you click on that tab, it's going to take you to a total different website, which is PPG School, papapapagolfschool.com, where you can find all of that information in order to legally fly here.
Okay, so if I wanted to come up and hang out with Jim and go fly,
Absolutely.
I need 20 hours of online school. So I'd have to get up with you first and go through the 20 hours online. Have to figure out when I want to go up and see Jim. So as soon as I say, all right, I think I'm going to go up and see Jim and fly, what's the amount of time that you believe that we as pilots in the United States would have to go through all the stuff to be able to go up to Canada and fly with you guys? But how long do you think that would be? A month or less, or
Oh, way less. I mean,
a week or
let's,
so?
yeah, let's face it. The one challenge that we have in this sport, and which I'd like to change in my lifetime, is there's so many different rules and regulations are revolving around paramotor worldwide. There is no standard for training. It's not like, think of, I really equivalent I really relate paramotor to scuba diving years ago. It was the guys that came up with PADI that now have 4,400 locations worldwide that put a standardization on that sport. So you, as a paramotor pilot, wouldn't it be amazing that if you took your helmet and your wing and you could just jump on a plane and go to, let's say, Costa Rica or Panama or Brazil
Yeah.
or New Zealand or Iceland? You take
Yes.
your wing and without your motor, because we know that we have such hard times traveling with motors. It doesn't matter if it's electric or gas, unless that motor is until that motor runs gas through the engine. We can we can transport a motor, but as soon as that motor puts gas through the engine, then we actually have issues getting it back home and stuff like that. So you, as a paramotor pilot, wouldn't it be great to be able to take your wing, take your helmet, you know the way you're flying, go to a reputable school. That reputable school says, okay, we need to make sure that you're a competent pilot. They do a one-day course with you so that you demonstrate that you can fly without coming in on your ass and breaking a whole bunch of gear. And now you actually just have a tour guide to go fly some of the best locations around that spot. That would be my goal in my life, is to actually create these unique opportunities to have either rental centers or team up with quality schools, like from the aviator locations to Guy in Costa Rica, to Andre in Australia. Pick some of the schools in New Zealand and come up with a comprehensive syllabus that you could start your training in Canada or the US and show that you're a competent pilot, now be able to travel to some of these destinations and fly.
It looks like in the super chat, Stephen Goodpasser said, is there an online site where we in the US can get test questions a day, start the paperwork, and expedite the process? I assume that we'd have to go to ppgschool.com and register with you.
Correct. Yeah, you would have to register for at least the phase one, and the reason why we split the cost. Our cost here in Canada currently is it's $19.99 for phase one, $19.99 for phase two. That's Canadian dollars, so about like $1,000 for you Americans. It's but yeah, it's $2,000 for phase one. But once we receive that link, then we work with our clients on submitting those medicals into our contacts at Transport Canada. And within 24 hours, you receive a link for the online course. And then you do that at your own discretion. I monitor everything on the back end, so I know exactly where you're at through the whole course. And then as you're getting through the course and your medical comes back, then I can issue a student pilot permit, invite you to come up to Canada, and you can fly our motors and come fly with us.
Awesome. And we can keep that student pilot's license for 5 years, and then every 5 years, we can just re-up for another 5 years if we want to.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Would we be able to, if we, flew our 30 flights up there, be able to get our ultralight pilot's license from you also?
Not from me personally. That would be through Transport Canada, the
Okay.
AE multiple choice question exam that you need to achieve a minimum of 60%. Honestly, for Americans, it wouldn't benefit you at all to get an aviation document booklet. It has all of our stickers in it, from our radio operator's license to our different classes of certification for ultralight or paramotor. The aviation document booklet, I should back up here for a sec, Sean. So when we turn in that medical, we get a 6-digit number on that medical, which becomes our file number with Transport Canada. And anything that we do in aviation, whether we're flying gyroplanes or helicopters or get an APTL license, that is our file number for life. So anything tied to that 6-digit number, Transport Canada follows all the way through.
Okay. So that sounds good. I mean, I don't really see going up to Canada too many times a year to fly with Jim, but I would suppose that he's worth it to get that insurance for a whole year and only going to be hanging with them for a week.
Did Jim show you the pictures of the fly-in of last season's fly-in in September?
I
Did
don't
he?
think so. Jim, did you?
Jim went up. Jim
Mhm.
crawled up to. We couldn't find him. Jim crawled up to about, well, it was what, 12.5, we were around Lake Diefenbaker, and we were just pissing around, and the fog was coming off of the lake. So at about 200 feet, you were riding on top of a cloud at 200 feet. You could see the little towers just peeking out, and we actually had to wait for the sun to start heating up the ground to actually break through. And we stayed up for about 2.5, 3 hours, and we're all landed. Then sure enough, Jim comes down a little bit later, and it's like, where were you? And he's like, I went up to 12.5, and we were at I should say 12 because that was the airspace that we were in, whereas we shouldn't be going more than 12,000 there, but Jim just decided to push it a little bit further.
Sounds like Jim. So how many fly-ins do you have up there around you guys? A pretty good amount?
Yeah, flying. There's a couple in Alberta. There's one coming up for May long weekend in BC as well. We're going to have some of our team that's going to represent out there. I can't go because I've got a hip replacement on Wednesday, but I would love to be joining that one. We do an annual one for PPG school for all of our existing pilots as well as anybody that we've met in the community. We actually operate out of some of the provincial parks in Saskatchewan, and this year we've got keys to a undisclosed destination right now where the park manager is giving us keys to host a private event to bring in generators and music and camping for free, and we're all going to fly out of that location just so that we're not buzzing around or bugging anybody else that's non-paramotor enthusiasts. And when we have our own private campground to fly out of, and again bringing in music and fire, and we do a bunch of games where we do you have to collect rings with your feet from doing foot drags, and then you have to go up to a 30-foot pole, then back down and do beanbag drops and kind of all that kind of just fun games, build community, have fun, and then share some drinks after.
Definitely. Now, April 8th of 2024, there's going to be a complete solar eclipse starting at Mexico, going through the United States and up into Canada. You guys plan on doing any type of fly-in or flying while there is a solar eclipse? Because I haven't done that yet, but it sounds pretty interesting.
That does sound interesting, considering legally we can only fly 20 minutes before sunrise and 20 minutes after sundown. So to be able to fly during a solar eclipse, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, I wonder what the legal ramifications are. Do you have to turn in your strobe and be in G airspace? I don't know. That'd be something to think about. I don't know. I mean, I don't see any reason why you'd have to do anything extra. I'd turn on my my strobes just because it's dark all of a sudden. I think it'd be really neat. So
Oh yeah,
I can't wait until
absolutely.
April 8th of 2024. Now here we are at 7:45, guys. Aaron is going to be giving away a bunch of prizes. Did you guys say hello to Jim in the super chat? Make sure you guys are here in the next 15 minutes so we can show you what we're going to be giving away. Any other questions in the super chat, Mr. Jim?
There is one from Angela. She was wondering, what's the coldest temperature that you've flown in, Aaron?
Me personally, I've gone out in, and you have to appreciate this is degrees Celsius. It was getting close to minus 20 degrees Celsius without the wind chill. And obviously we weren't in too much wind, but it was probably blowing 4 knots. So that drops down to about minus 25 to minus 30. It's cold. Like it's like you're on skis, and we're just doing a bit of a photo shoot. I had a bunch of the kiteboarders out, and I was kind of slaloming through all the kiteboarders for the shoot. But I can say if you're in anything under minus 10 degrees Celsius with the motion heated gloves and full face mask, like you need to bundle up just for appropriate for the weather. It's definitely doable, and wintertime flying is amazing. It is. The motors are so snappy, and your wings are so solid. You're never going to be able to bank like that.
Interesting, but that's still really kind of cold.
I and I should mention, I mean, in the wintertime in Saskatchewan, and because we're so far north, we have very limited amount of hours of daylight. Like you might get 3 or 4 hours of daylight. We're in the summertime. I was teaching this past week, and I had 4 students here, and we were in the field by 5 o'clock in the morning because sunrise was at 5:22, and sundown right now is at about 8:30, 8:34. And this isn't even peak time yet. Usually sunrise will be about 4:30 in the morning, and sundown will be closer to 10:30 at night. So when Jim visited for his paramotor training, we might as well just sleep at the field, because you go to sleep for a few hours, and then you're trying to get all the flights in before the thermals are kicking off all midday. So we had some early mornings with Jim.
That is really interesting. My goodness, you guys have so many rules and regulations compared to what we have in the United States. And I've seen a couple of people say things like that in the super chat. We are really super lucky in the States to be able to just, you know, go up and fly pretty much anytime. We don't need licenses. If you want to wear a helmet, you can. If you're not, it's no big deal. It's not like you're going to get your stuff taken away. You don't have student license and permits. You don't have to have third-party insurance. Wow. And 20 hours of classroom time. Very interesting. The difference between Canada and what we got going over here in the States.
But Sean, I'm gonna interject for a second. Yes, we have to do a lot of training, and I believe there's a lot of that training that we're never going to use. Absolutely, you don't need to know what settings your aileron needs to be in for your fixed wing when you're flying paramotor, and how many times are we actually flying out of an aerodrome. But when it comes to aerial collision avoidance, as well as I was in Florida visiting one of my mentors, Eric Dufour, years ago. This was a couple of years after he sold his business to Eric and Travis for Aviator, and we're outside of Valhalla Airport in Florida, and I want to say it was a Ukrainian or a Russian. Are they the same these days? I don't know. I won't go there. But I remember this European coming over, and he wanted to fly out of Valhalla, and it was a closed compound, and because he could legally fly anywhere, he was trying to take off from the parking lot. We had to go out and politely say that, I'm sorry, this isn't a good place to fly because of all the mangroves and the router that's coming over these bushes here. And before I had left, about 4 or 5 days later, I read about him in the paper. He ended up launching out of a parking lot, hitting a power line. He had a young wife of 24 and a young son, and she was starting a GoFundMe page because he just wanted to fly in the US. So Transport Canada, I really need to stipulate this. Transport Canada is not there to be dicks and to avoid anybody from flying. They're there to just make sure that everybody is knowledgeable and is as safe as they can be in order to fly. And I feel that's why we have a lot of US clients that come up from the US to join our schools here in Canada.
That's really awesome. Guys, we're 10 minutes out before we're going to be giving away some stuff. So make sure you say hello to Jim in the super chat. Jim, you got something going on? What's up?
Will had a really good question. He's on the phone. Maybe he wants to ask it.
He's over at the fly, and he says that.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, okay. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry that it was just way too noisy. I couldn't unmute it at the time, and I had to move heaven and earth just to get on here. So, whoever's coming to Bad Apple, Sean, you're going to be in for an amazing event, just amazing. But yeah, I was curious. Nice to meet you, Aaron.
Yeah, you as well.
In Canada, can you fly a paramotor without visual reference to the surface? So
no,
you can fly over a cloud bank
IFR,
just so long as you have what proper cloud clearance and visibility.
No, you have to have. Actually, I should go back to Jim and your training. What does it say about flying over clouds? What do you have to legally? Here's a test question for you, Jim. Did you get this one right on your exam? Do you remember?
You got to be able to see the ground.
You have to be able to see the ground. So when we were flying at our fly-in last September, when all the fog was lifting off the lake, and we had flown, it was less than 200 feet. It was probably about 80 to 100 feet. We were going through all of that fog, and then we popped up on top, and we were riding on top of a cloud, but it was only like 100 feet up. That is illegal. However, we were able to see different ground spots that we're clearing. So as long as we have visual reference of the ground, then we are legal to fly. But you're supposed to have at least a mile ahead of you in any direction when you're flying. So the answer is no, you're not supposed to fly over the clouds and be socked in.
That's definitely the same way we're over here. You got to have visual reference to the ground. Can't go cloud surfing, unfortunately, which would be fun, but I totally understand. I don't want, somebody on IFR to pop out and, be heading right towards me. So stay away from the clouds.
Yeah.
I've got to run, guys. I'm glad I could make it in here, but I'm sorry I wasn't on earlier.
Glad you can make it, Will. We'll see you out there soon, I hope.
Looking forward to it. Y'all have a good night.
Be safe.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. 5 minutes till, and we're going to be giving away some stuff. So I guess if you want to, Aaron, tell us what you plan on giving away.
Well, how many people do we have on the chat?
How many people do we have, Jim?
We have, give me a few moments. At this particular moment,
Looks like we got about 20 people and 13 likes. So anybody that wants to hit that like, that thumbs up, we appreciate it. So about 20 people right now.
Okay. So for those, why don't we have for the and how do we get the prizes to them? Do people send emails with addresses or anything like that? Or
Yeah, we can definitely have them get up with you through email and
okay.
send their information to you.
Okay. And Sean, is any of this video or on video, or can people see if I hold stuff up, or is this all audio?
Oh no, right now it's a video for the people
Okay.
that are able to use or able to I don't know receive this, because if this is not live, sorry guys, the only thing you can do is text me 501-747-3558, and if you're listening to this, I will send you out some stickers. So don't worry if you are not live. You won't be able to get the merch that Aaron has, that he's going to be sending out, but we can give you some Clear Prop TV stickers.
Okay, so Jim, how many likes do we have so far? We said 13. Lucky number 13. That's actually one of my
21
lucky numbers.
Oh, we're up
21.
to 20 likes and 20
21.
viewers.
Okay.
We did good. All right, thanks guys.
Yeah. Okay, so for the 21 likes or the 20 viewers that we have, we will be sending out a student pilot handbook, which is a comprehensive syllabus of everything to do with meteorology to clouds, introduction to paramotor, what to expect, different wind directions, what the requirements of a good launch area, forward launching, reverse launching tips, launching and landing area tips, landing process in a paramotor, air law and aerial collision avoidance, including our complete syllabus for both our online as well as our ground handling, and kind of a something to throw on your side. So it even includes your pre-flight safety check as well as your motor maintenance checklist. And if you were to come to Canada, we have our letters of recommend that you would need signed by a flight instructor, as well as a complete flight log, so that you can, if you're not running a TAC meter, which you should be, you can monitor how many hours are on your motor. So we can definitely get the 20 or 21 of those handbooks out to everybody that joined tonight. Thanks for listening to me chat, because I really don't like the voice. And we do have a couple other draws, but I'll let Sean decide how you want to give away some of these. But we've got some of our Explore Sports t-shirts, just with the logo on the front and our slogan on the back: life begins at the end of your comfort level, as well as a hat. And you know what, with these we'll throw in some, because everybody could use some. We'll throw in a couple of BR9 ES spark plugs with the hat and the t-shirt as well.
Very
Holy
cool.
smokes.
Very cool, Aaron.
That is really awesome.
That is super duper.
So I guess we got to figure out, since we don't have a spinning wheel of winning things, how we're going to give these things away. So I'm thinking about some of the things that you said. So right now, guys, because there is a lag and some of you might be lagging more than others, if you hit refresh now, in 30 seconds, we'll continue the podcast. So hit refresh, and that way you're as close to where we are right now without any lag. So go ahead and hit refresh. We'll see you in about 30 seconds. All right. So while everybody is hitting the refresh and making sure that they're on the same timestamp as we are, we're going to figure out a couple of questions. So we're going to be giving away a hat and a shirt. So there's two different winners that we can have right now. And we will look and we will figure out what we're going to ask as far as a question. Okay, so I'm thinking about some of the stuff that we talked about. If they were here for the entire time, the entire podcast, they'll probably know this. And if you are listening to this within the last 15 minutes, you probably will know this also. So let's figure out a question. If there's a question, Aaron, that you already want to ask about your school that you already talked about, and the first person that pops up the answer,
Sure. Yeah.
we can do
no,
that.
I've got a question. So
Okay.
towards the beginning of the podcast, before I had even started down the career of paramotor, I have now been teaching a alternative sport for nearly 2 decades.
Mhm.
What is that sport?
All right. The first person that answers that question, what is the first sport that he's been teaching for a couple decades that he talked about at the very beginning? If you don't know, go over to his .com and it does have it on his website. So the first person that it pops up will win a t-shirt or a hat? What are we giving away first?
We're going to give away, why don't we give away a t-shirt and a set of BR9ES spark plugs, as well as the student handbook.
All right. It looks like PPG, the other Nick, said kite surfing.
Kite surfing will do. Kite surfing, kiteboarding. Absolutely. So
All
I'm
right.
assuming
Tony said 6.
Well, the answer to the whole, why are we here is 42. So Tony was pretty close at 6, but it's 42. No, so kite surfing is the correct answer. And the first thing I see here is PPG, the other Nick. You have won the hat or the t-shirt. What do we say?
let's let Nick pick as the first winner.
Nick, since you are the first winner, type in what you would like, the hat or the shirt.
As well as his shirt size.
There
That
you
would be
go.
wonderful.
Yay, the other Nick, says Bill H. All right, so think of another question, and while you're doing that, I'm going to say hello to the people that are in the chat that I wasn't able to say hello to before. So let's go ahead and go through real quick. Gary Simmons or Simons, John Wayne, Kara PPG, Tommy Sutherland, Goldie Thiel. I hope I said that right. PPG, the other Nick, John Wayne, Angela Preslick, Matt Sloper, Joshua Marsh, Matt Sloper again, lots of people. Plainfield, PPG, Angela Preslick, Joshua again, lots of people chatting, lots of chats. That's awesome. JP Tulo in the house. I actually think I saw him online earlier. He is at Bad Apples, I believe. Katie Hulte. Did I say that right? I hope so. Stephen hey, if I'm saying it wrong and you know how to say it right, go ahead and say it right.
No, it's because you don't have your glasses on.
No, I do not. I better put on my PPG glasses real quick.
Oh, good Lord. See?
There we go.
Now look at that.
Yeah, Mad Slope.
If I have to wear my glasses, you gotta wear your glasses.
Have to. I love wearing my glasses. I just gotta lean into this. James is in the house. Tony Marzano. I know, right? I mean, I look very, very grandpa-ish, which is, that's the look I'm looking for, Will Fly. Who else we got in here? Bill H. Look at all the chatting. I've really missed a lot of chats. Was there any other questions that we missed? Mr. Jim, did you see any?
There was one. and
Okay.
it was Steve's. I really want Aaron to answer this because it scares me. Do you
Okay.
have to mask up to fly with geese in Canada?
I've flown with geese. I actually have video of them literally, I don't want to say touching my bridles because that could be really bad. But I can definitely post some videos. I'm really, really bad, guys, at posting videos, but I have hours and hours of content, and I have lots of flying with geese and different types of birds as well.
Okay, I got another question because well, how do you catch up to the geese? I can't seem to. They take off and they're gone.
It's called a speed bar, Jim, and you'll be. Have we installed that yet on yours?
No, we haven't.
Okay, speed bar, free ride, Viper, Luna.
Speed bar is
Just a
pretty
little bit more
awesome.
money.
Ah, there it is. I forgot I put both of them here, so just in case I missed. All right, so I got both my my old man glasses. All right, so
Good job,
let's.
good job.
Hey, you know, I'm doing my best, and of course my hair is all funky. Somebody said something about my. Every time that they watch it, it's like my hair is funky. It's like, yeah, I'm trying different things. You know, it's like, I don't know.
You need to gel it. Where's the gel, man? You know,
Angela would like to know which places in the US he's flown.
Sorry, where I've flown in the US?
Yes. Where are you flown? Yeah.
I have property outside of Red Lodge, Montana. So we fly off the Beartooth Mountains. So we do a lot of paragliding as well when we're visiting Red Lodge. But I've flown PPG in Red Lodge. It's a little bit tough because when I was flying Red Lodge, I was on Pliny 190s, and we have to break open the high screw and turn it about an hour and 15 minutes because of the altitude being at 5,600 feet in Red Lodge versus in Saskatchewan here we're at about 1,800. So we do have to void our warranty on the motors when we do fly Red Lodge. I love flying down in North Carolina, the Outer Banks. I mean, it's nostalgic. It's where the Wright brothers first took flight in 1903. And when you get that beautiful ocean breeze coming down, and you can just be cruising up and down or around the ocean on the soaring the ridges as well, getting some of the lift coming off the mountains. It's beautiful. Flown down in Florida, California, Arizona, Nevada, and stopped at a couple different places when I drive down to North Carolina as well, because I usually take my 16-foot cargo trailer with kiteboarding and paramotor equipment for all of our students and people that are headed down that way for a kiteboarding vacation. But yeah, love flying the US. I love flying, period. You're scuba diving in the sky. It's seeing the world in a different way. Canada does have some amazing places to fly, whether we're flying over the mountains in Pemberton or Whistler area in BC, or whether we're flying at our Atlantic School in Prince Edward Island with the red rocks and the cliffs and the red sand, and getting lift from the ocean hitting the walls there. It's just love it everywhere. It's even in Saskatchewan where you wouldn't think of, like, Google Regina. It's the city that rhymes with fun. Google it seriously and see where we are. And we're dead center in Saskatchewan. It's farmland is as far as the eye can see, but yet you get into these little valleys and carve around trees, and there's outs everywhere. It's not like Kenora, Ontario, which is the Canadian tundra, where there's just rocks, trees, and water everywhere. Where you take off, you have to cone up to be able to get to your next spot. Here, you can land anywhere, and actually, as part of our syllabus that we teach for in-flight training is a minimum of 2 times. All of our students will actually have 2 engine outs. We run them out of gas on purpose so that they get in the mindset that you can have an engine out at any time. So, but it's safe to do here. We just drive across the field, pick them up, and go grab them some gas, and they get back in the air and fly. So, love flying everywhere. But some of the best flying in the U.S., I do love the Outer Banks, and again, flying around Jockey's Ridge where the Wright brothers took flight. It's pretty cool. Kiteboarding is even better.
Yeah, one of these days I want a kite, Ballard.
Where would be your
Definitely.
most favorite place to have flown?
Panama's pretty awesome. Brazil is pretty epic. The sand dunes, yeah, those are pretty special. I haven't done Iceland yet. I was supposed to go last year with Miroslav and the scout team. Obviously, we're a retailer of Scout in Canada, and I was looking at taking over that tour for Miroslav. But with the recent changes in his family and expanding his family and the amount of demand that he had, he decided to go ahead with last year's tour. Miroslav's focus was to actually open up a bunch of other destinations in Europe and start focusing on them. And that's why I was going to take over the Iceland tour, because we had a group of North Americans that were interested in joining. COVID ended up hitting, and really to be able to go, I've got 2 young boys myself at ages, well, they're 10 and 13 now. To be able to go for a 2-week excursion and then have to quarantine coming back for 2 weeks, it just didn't make much sense. That's not saying that this future, including this August, that might not be joining, or I might as well be joining that Iceland tour, but I have intentions of heading over to Italy, visiting our 4 manufacturers, Vizzarazzi, Polini, Icaro, as well as Fly Product, and then heading over to Slovakia before teaming up with a bunch of guys in Munich for Beer Fest. So we'll see how this summer goes. Yeah.
Really super nice. All right. We're going to be giving away something here in just a moment. We're going to say hi to the rest of the people here in the super chat. Dustin Vixe, I hope I said that right, said hello. Paraninja said konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. I was actually living in Japan for a while, so I know a little bit of Japanese. So boku wa Amerikajin desu dakara nihongo wa hanashimasen. All right. So we got Stephen Goodpaster, Tony Marzano, Gus Goldie, Will Fly, Bill H, Joshua Marsh, Stephen Goldpaster, Flying Flamingo J, Bill H, Care PPG the other Nick. PPG the other Nick. Did you say what you wanted, the hat or the shirt?
He said he wants the shirt.
Wants a shirt?
And he said if Tony doesn't win the next item, then he'll give him the shirt.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so the next question, I'm going to ask the next question because it's
you're the host. You can do what you want.
You know what? That's pretty cool. I'm going to ask the next question. All right. So this is for whatever PPG the other Nick doesn't want, either the hat or the shirt. So when did man first fly? What is the date? And what is the year? The date and the year of when did man start flying? You can find that under the history of aviation, or just do a Google search, it will pop up. And if you don't know, it'll blow you away.
And bonus, if you get their names, we should throw in, what else do I have to throw in?
And believe it or not, it's not in the 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
Our first flight was not the Wright brothers.
It was not.
No, do a quick Google search. You'll be like, what?
Next, you're going to say it wasn't in Ohio, too. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm not sure exactly where it was, but it's not in the 1900s. Do a quick Google search. When did
Is this
man
gonna be
first
one of the
start
Da Vinci
flying?
things? Leonardo da Vinci, like not flying, falling with style.
And as soon as I see the correct one, I will screen share what Google has told me that I've seen that I thought was really neat. No, UFOs do not count, Stephen, but do hot air balloons count? I don't know. If you can pull it up on Google and show me that those before the first flight that I see, then you win. December 17th, B, 1904. No, it's not in the 1900s. No, it's not Orville or Wilbur Wright. It's not in North Carolina. Come on, guys. It's a quick Google search. When did man start flying? I just need a date. That's all I need is a date. I don't need names, just a date. First date that pops up. 503 AD, says Walter. I don't know. That's possible, but I don't know if there's any proof. November 21st, 1783, Charles Walsh. All right, so there we go. Someone actually did a Google search. I'll show you the screen share so you can see exactly what I found and why he won. Let me go ahead and go there.
Sounds like lies to me. It was in Ohio, though, right?
Oh, let's see here. The first manned flight was on November 21st, 1783.
And he died November 21st, 1783.
Hey, it's the first flight. It's a Google, and there it is. So November
That's-
21st.
Okay, hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Yes, you can find in their history of aviation. It's really amazing.
Okay, hold that. Can I borrow the screen for a second?
Yeah, go
Oh, I
ahead.
can't.
Yeah, you can share it if you want.
I can't. I'm on my phone. But I can do this. It's the exact same picture with a different date. Can you see that?
Let me look. Hold on.
December 17th. I see that.
Exact same picture. I think Google has some issues. What was the description it gave for yours, though?
Let me go back there, see if I can find it. Hold on. I think I closed it out.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm just being particular.
Oh, it's
Long story short, Ohio for the win. You hear that, Angela and Tony and all my peeps in the chat.
No,
Charlie
here it is.
Bill.
Here it is. I found it
Will.
again.
Will
Here it is.
fly.
Here it is. I found it again. It's under grc.nasa.gov. History of flight. So, if that was too tricky, I guess what we can do is ask Aaron to give us another question. If that was too tricky, is that too tricky? Do we need a real question?
Did we have two winners? Did we have two answers of the December 17th and the November 21st? Or did only one person come in?
No, only one person got the date that Sean was looking for.
Steven says the government conspiracy and
Roswell. What?
Charlie Walsh got it. November 21st, 1783.
that's what I found on there. And Charlie Walsh, he got it. So
Charlie Walsh is the man.
we'll just say that Charlie Walsh won this one because wait a minute, Joshua Marsh above him said November 21st, 1783.
Oh, you're right.
I see that right underneath Angela Presslick.
Oh, but above that, Charlie Walsh has it there.
Said November 23rd. Okay. So we were right. All right. Too many weird things going on. But so how do the people that won your merch, how do they get up with you and how do they receive it?
Absolutely. So anybody that's interested in that joined tonight, that's interested in the Paramotor Student Handbook, which has pre-flight checklists and just a comprehensive syllabus to follow if you're learning at getting into the sport. as well as flight logs and just some good tips and stuff like that, definitely hit me up and I'll mail them out directly to you. You can get a hold of me through exploresports.ca or ppgschool.com. That's Papa Golf School.com. And all of my information is on there. Reach out via email, send me your address, and we'll get stuff sent out to you guys.
Well, that is awesome. And here we are, 10 minutes before you have to go. We got that all taken care of. Had a pretty interesting, the first flight. I guess we'll have to look into that a little bit more, but that's what I've been seeing is as far as the first flight was, not the Wright brothers. Interesting. And there's even some balloons that were up 10,000 years ago, apparently, that were flying people around. So go figure.
Crazy.
Maybe there were paramotors a long, long time ago. Maybe 10,000 years ago there was a paramotor, but we didn't know about it. I don't know. Maybe not. Any other questions for Aaron before we start closing down the podcast?
I just want to say thanks, Aaron. I got to run, guys. It's always a pleasure. Hopefully, I'll be back more.
Thanks, JT.
Yeah,
Don't
good
stay
to see
away
you,
so
buddy.
long, okay?
What's that?
Don't stay away so long.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna be back
I
tomorrow.
know.
Guys, I'm sorry. I miss you guys. I'm going through my withdrawal of my paramotor peeps. So I love you guys.
Well,
Miss
good
you
to see you,
too.
JP.
I
Have
got
a
a
good one,
quick
bud.
question. See you, JP. Got a quick question for Aaron about U.S. pilots and how many he's taught or brought to, so that they've gotten a Canadian document, or maybe they didn't even go that far, but how many have you trained?
Okay.
In the last 3 years since opening up the school, and this is our third season, I think we've put through 6 in the last 2 years, and we have 4 registered right now for spring summer training at one of our schools across Canada. So not a ton, because again, we do sell a bit. I'm not going to say into the US, because we have to what's the word? We have to honor our dealer agreements where we're not selling Canada into the US and US to Canada. However, we've had some students that come up from the US that do training that obviously we can sell gear to, and then they take their paramotor back with them. And let's face it, the US dollar is stronger for the Americans visiting Canada. It's a great vacation, and we get a lot of people from Montana, Idaho, Washington, some of the surrounding states versus them investing all the money to fly down to Aviator in Florida or have wait times or whatnot. We're pretty accessible during the summertime to get through the demand with any Americans coming up.
Cool.
Okay.
So
And real quick, real quick, can you let the people know what is your email address? Bill H said that he hit the wrong button and didn't catch your email.
Yep, for sure. It's Aaron. It's Aaron at PPG School. That's Papa Golf School.com.
Awesome. Well, Aaron, thank you so very much for joining us tonight and hanging out with us, teaching us about the difference between what we do in the States and what you guys do up there in Canada. Very interesting. I'm very, very happy that we talked about this, knowing that if I want to, I can go up there, just bring a helmet and my wing and be able to go through your phase 1, get a couple of things going on. I could fly in Canada. That's awesome. I did not know it was that easy, and it really is easy considering, right?
Yeah, as long as you're just demonstrating competency, and most people that have helmets and wings, and by even looking, call them creeping people's backgrounds, when you see all of the flights that they're posting, if they're in the sport or if they're or as soon as they have a wing in their hands, that they're going to be competent or not. when it comes to allowing them to fly. But as long as they do that 20 hours of classroom training and they have the valid medical and insurance, we're able to write a student pilot permit and get people up in the air.
Incredible. Incredible. Yeah, it sounds like we might have to go up there and hang out with you guys in Canada and do a fly-in and drink some Canadian beer and smell some Canadian money. Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
It's all Bitcoin now.
Yeah, it seems like all the governments are thinking about going digital currency and no more paper money, no more coins.
You know us, like our Canadian, you're always welcome to come visit us, because you know us Canadians, we come down and visit you guys all the time.
Absolutely. Anything that you want to leave us with, Mr. Aaron? Words of wisdom or anything like that?
Oh, just everybody fly fly safe, and it's all about experiencing the world in a different way and building the community. And yeah, just looking forward to meeting a lot of you guys on our travels. And again, you're welcome to come up to Canada anytime. Hit me up, and I'll definitely hit you guys up when we're on our travels down your way. I really
Awesome.
appreciate the opportunity to get on the show. It's been a blast.
You bring a wing down to my school and you can use our motors and we can go fly around and I'll show you our neighborhood.
As long as you're running trike, because again, I got my hip replacement on Wednesday, so I'm going to be restricted to trike for another season yet. So.
Oh my goodness! You know what? My uncle had his hip replaced, but he was up and running around and had no problems within just a couple of weeks. So the technology seems to have changed a lot. You're going to be fully bionic.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Well, thank you again very much. I appreciate
Thank
you, Aaron. Amazing information, and I can't wait to chat with you maybe tomorrow or something like that. So stay here. Don't go nowhere. We're going to kill all of our live streams and talk privately in just a moment. We also got a audio live stream that's going to Podbean. Johnny Biggs and Lovely Allen was listening to us. So thank you very much for listening to us. On our live stream. Thank you very much for listening to us live at clearproptv.com and listening to us on Memorex. After the fact, you can watch us here and you can listen to us at paratalk.org or any of your podcasting apps. You can find me and my flying shenanigans over at ppggrandpa.com or iflyparamotors.com. And of course, on Tuesday nights, you can hang out at the Paramotor Hangouts with ppglear.com, Lear. On Wednesday, have the All Girl Podcast at paramotorgirl.com. And then on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. On Thursday, we have paraglidingtalk.com with my son, Robert Michael. He's the host with the most. We always have really good time, lots of information, a lot of cool guests and everything. So you guys know where to be on Thursday, paraglidingtalk.com.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Miss Linda. If you want to be on the show, go to paramomusa.com. If it's over to Linda's Facebook page, just say, hey, I want to be on the show. Jim, thank you very much for bringing your instructor on tonight. Definitely appreciate that. And thank you so much for helping us out with stickers and all these other wonderful things that you do over at your printing press at carepp.com. And you're up to 118, you said, flights?
That's correct.
On careppg.com.
You betcha.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you tomorrow over at ppglear.com. Good night. Peace out.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Please don't go nowhere. We're going to kill the live stream, but we're going to chat for just a moment. So, going to kill the audio.
Much love.